Hare Krishna. I'd like to welcome everyone to today's session. We'll wait for a minute before we begin today's session. We'll begin with prayers. Om Gyantimirandasya Gyananjanashalaakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manavishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutaha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajata Sahagana Raghunathamutam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Shakam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Shrute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. We would like to welcome all of you to the third session on the Ramayana series. Today we will be discussing on the greatness of Mother Sita. The whole focus of today's presentation is going to be on this one personality of the Ramayana, which is Mother Sita. Sita is considered to be one of the most important personalities in the Ramayana. In fact, there are some acharyas in the Sri Sampradaya who actually believe that the Ramayana is not about Lord Rama, but it is about Mother Sita. In fact, they actually strongly feel that the Ramayana is actually Rama Ayan. Rama is another name of Mother Sita. And therefore, the book should be called as Rama Ayan and not Ramayana, because it's a book on Sita. In fact, the Acharyas explain that every kand of the Ramayana, there are 6 kands prominently in the Ramayana, which are different sections of the Ramayana. And the Acharyas explain that every kand of the Ramayana is completely focused and centered around Mother Sita's activities. In fact, it is said that the Balakanda of the Ramayana is about the story of the marriage of Mother Sita. The Ayodhya Kanda of the Ramayana is the story of Sita joining Ram in exile. The Aranya Kanda of the Ramayana is about the story of Sita being kidnapped, abducted by Ravana. The Kishkinda Kanda of the Ramayana is a story about the search for Sita. The Sundara Kanda of the Ramayana is a story about discussing and locating Mother Sita, and the discussion that Hanumanji has with Mother Sita. The Yuddha Kanda of the Ramayana is all about her reunion with Lord Ram. And finally, the last Kand, which is an addition to the 6 original Kands, is called the Uttara Kanda of the Ramayana, is about the departure of Mother Sita. In fact, therefore, the Ramayana can be seen in two ways. Rama Ayana. Ayana means the story of, or the travels of, or the adventures of. So Ramayana essentially means that the story of Rama. It also can be seen as Rama Ayana, or the story of Sita. So today we're going to be focusing on the Ramayana from the perspective of Mother Sita. So I'm going to share with you a lot of insights into different stories of Mother Sita that can help us understand the greatness of this personality and also the depths of the character of Mother Sita. We will begin the story, we will begin this narration by talking about the birth of Sita. The father of Mother Sita is known as Shiradwaja Janak. So Janak is a post, and everyone who's in that dynasty is called Janak for a reason. This dynasty begins from the son of Ikshwaku, whose name is King Nimi. And Nimi, he wanted to perform a sacrifice, a elaborate Vedic sacrifice for which was for the welfare of society. He called his guru Vashishta to officiate the sacrifice. Vashishta agreed to come, but unfortunately, at the exact same time that Vashishta was to come to Nimi's yajna, Vashishta also got an invite from the heavenly planets. There was another yajna to be performed in the heavens, and Vashishta chose to go to the heavens to perform the yajna over his disciple Nimi. Sometimes the tendency is those who are very close to us, those who are always with us, we tend to neglect their needs and focus on those people's needs who are very far away from us. Vashishta did that. He went to the heavenly planets. In the meanwhile, Nimi Maharaj, he realized that the muhurta for performing the yajna was getting over. So he went ahead and called somebody else and got the yajna done. When Vashishta came back, he realized that the yajna is over. He got very upset with his disciple Nimi. And out of great anger, he cursed Nimi that he would die immediately. Nimi also got very upset with his guru. He told his guru, "Come on, what kind of a guru are you? Instead of focusing on me, instead of focusing on your disciple, you went to the heavenly planets because you'll get a little more dakshina over there." So he said, "I curse you also that you will also die." So immediately both the guru and the disciple fall down dead. So the Brahmanas see that the king is dead and the guru is dead. The Brahmanas, they came together and decided to revive both of them. Those days they had the power to revive them. So they went and asked Nimi Maharaj first, "Do you want to be revived?" Nimi said, "No, I have no desire to be revived. This body has done what it's supposed to be doing. Now I want to go ahead in my spiritual journey." And Vashishta, obviously, he chose to be revived. So Vashishta's soul was taken and put into a pot. And that pot eventually was transferred and Vashishta got another birth. That's a long story. But coming back to Nimi Maharaj, so when Nimi decided to go ahead on his journey, still there was no king over there. So the Brahmanas took the body of Nimi Maharaj and churned the body. And from the churning of the body of Nimi was born a personality. And this personality was born from the churning of Nimi Maharaj's body, was known as Mithi Janak. The word Janaka means the one who is born, Janma. And Mithi means Manthan. Manthan means churning. The one who is born from churning is known as Mithi Janak. And all the people in that dynasty came to be known as Janak only. And only the first names would change. And because Mithi was the founder of the city named this powerful kingdom, it came to be known as Mithila. And in that kingdom was the latest king whose name was Shiradwaja Janak. And the interesting thing also is that from the time Nimi decided to give up his body and not have attachment to his body, everyone in that kingdom and everyone in that dynasty got a special name. In fact, the entire kingdom of Mithila also got a special name. The name that was given was Vaidehapur. Mithila was also called as Vaidehapur. What is the meaning of the word Vaidehapur? Pur means city or a place. And Vaideha comes from the word Deha. Deha means body. And Vaideha means the one who is not attached to the body, the one who is beyond the body, the one who doesn't care for the body. And therefore, everyone in that dynasty came to be known as Vaidehas or Vaidehis. And therefore, when Sita was uh, born to Janak, Shiradwaja Janak, she also got another name which was Vaidehi. The interesting thing is, Mother Sita, she was not born like a regular person. She was born at the tip of a plow. Janak Maharaj had once desired to perform a yajna, and the type of yajna that he was performing was in connection with the welfare of the kingdom. And therefore, one of the rituals of the yajna was that the king had to plow a field, and wherever the plow got stuck, the king would have to give profuse charity. So while Janak Maharaj was plowing the field using a plow, the plow got stuck at one place so badly, no matter how much he was giving charity, the plow was just not coming out. And finally, they dug that place and they found this golden box, a beautiful golden box. And when Janak Maharaj opened that golden box, inside that was Mother Sita, this beautiful, golden, effulgent girl. And the interesting thing is, because she was not born from a regular mother, but she was born from the earth, can you imagine how can ever a girl, a child, be inside a basket and survive? And that too in the basket, when the sorry, inside a box and survive, that too when the box is buried inside the ground. This box was just a covering. But actually, Mother Earth personified in the form of this child. And therefore, Mother Sita, Sita means plow, the tip of the plow. And the one who is born at the tip of the plow is called as Sita. And because she is born from the earth, from Bhumi, she is also called as Bhumi Suta. These are the different names that Sita had in her childhood. So Janak Maharaj, as Sita began to grow into this beautiful princess, beautiful girl, Janak Maharaj decided to get her married to someone who's qualified. And he kept a swayamvara. He kept a condition for the marriage of Sita. And the condition was that whoever wanted to marry Sita had to at least lift the bow of Lord Shiva. The bow of Lord Shiva was huge. Lord Shiva had given this bow to the demigods, and the demigods had given this bow down to a king named Devavrata. And from the dynasty of Devavrata was Nimi born, and then eventually Janak Maharaj born. And therefore, the bow came down in parampara, in dynasty, and reached Janak Maharaj. A lot of people, in fact, thousands of people came to pick up the bow and try to get Sita's hand in marriage. But no matter how many people came and tried, they just couldn't even budge the bow. They couldn't even forget picking up. They couldn't even uh, slightly by an inch budge it. A lot of people, when they saw failure after failure, one after another, people failing, they actually started making fun of the king. They started saying, what kind of foolish father he is? What kind of foolish king he is? It seems that he just doesn't want his daughter to get married. And at that point, the whole of Mithila was talking negative and ill about their king. They were calling him a fool. They were calling him extremely overambitious. And they said, lifting of Lord Shiva's bow is impossible. Normally, if Lord Shiva's bow had to be moved from where it was stored to the courtroom for the Swayamvar functions, 5,000 men would go and pull and push the cart, which was drawn by 500 bulls. And that was the kind of power and strength that was needed to lift this bow, to not even lift it, to push this bow from one place to another. And here, Janak was expecting his future son in law, his to be son in law, to actually pick it up. Everyone said this is foolish, impossible. But one particular day, obviously, behind what Janak was doing was a story. Behind what a father was doing was a story that only he knew. When Sita was a small girl, she was playing around with her friends. And once, while they were playing, a ball fell and went below the bow, the place where the bow was kept. And Sita, the small girl, she ran around, tried to look for the ball. And when she realized that the ball has gone below the bow, she effortlessly lifted the bow with her left hand. She bent down and picked up the ball with the right hand. And then she threw the bow back to its place and ran away with the ball. Now, this was seen by some of the guards that were standing around the bow. And when the guards saw Mother Sita effortlessly lift the bow with her left hand, all of them actually fainted. They couldn't believe that a small girl could so easily carry it. Now, Janak Maharaj obviously managed to keep that story a secret. No one in Mithila came to know about that story, and it was just put under covers. But in Janak's mind, he had an agony. He was thinking, if my daughter is going to marry someone, she should at least marry someone who can lift this bow. Imagine if she got married to somebody who's thin and lean and who doesn't have the capacity to lift this bow also. What would happen if Sita embraces such a person? That person will die. And therefore, Janak Maharaj put this condition that at least that person should be able to lift the bow. If he can handle Mother Sita's greatness and power. And therefore, finally, after thousands of people not being able to lift that bow, there was one such person who actually came and was possibly a good contestant. And the interesting thing is, as soon as Janak Maharaj saw him, this is Lord Ram, who came with Vishwamitra Muni and Lakshman into the courtroom of Janak Maharaj. So when Janak Maharaj saw him, he immediately felt great hope. In fact, all the citizens of Mithila felt great hope in it. And they all felt that if anyone can lift this bow, it has to be Ram. And Janak Maharaj, at that point, as he was intensely praying and hoping for Ram to be able to lift the bow, he told Vishwamitra Muni that if Ram can lift the bow, then I will give him Sita's hand in marriage. Now, that word "if" of Janak Maharaj is a very important word because when a person sees constant failures in his or her life, one after another, if they see constant failures in one's life, the tendency is we lose faith. We lose faith on everyone around us. We lose faith on ourselves. And we even lose faith on God. Ram had the capacity to lift the bow. He was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But Janak Maharaj tells Vishwamitra Muni, if Ram can lift the bow, I will get Sita married to him. That word "if" comes in our lives so many times. And that word "if" is actually the seed of doubt. And therefore, when Ram was told about the bow, he was excited to see the bow. He went and effortlessly picked up the bow. And while he was trying to twang it, the bow broke in between. The bow represents many things at many levels. But one of the things that the bow represents is the joint between the two sides of the bow where Ram was holding it. And the bow snapped exactly there. The two sides of the bow represent birth and death. And in between, the thing that joins the two sides of the bow, it is something which we call as a false ego. All of us, we're living complete lives. Birth is on one side and death is on another side. And between birth and death is the false ego. Lord Shiva's bow is symbolic of life's cycle. And if we really need to complete the life cycle and we need to completely perfect our lives, we need to break the bow in between. That means we need to break the false ego that holds us, that connects us to this material world. And therefore, Lord Ram actually chose to break the bow exactly in between. Now the bow was broken. Janak Maharaj jumped up, was excited. For the first time in so many years, somebody had managed to lift the bow also. And Janak Maharaj immediately ordered the friends of Sita to get Sita for the marriage, for the Swayamvar. And as soon as Janak Maharaj called Mother Sita was dressed up, she was brought down, and she had a garland in her hand, and she was about to go and offer the garland to Lord Ram. Just then, Lord Ram, he spoke up, and he refused to marry unless and until Dasharath Maharaj, his father, permitted him to marry. Now imagine the state of Janak Maharaj's heart. Janak Maharaj's heart was broken. Here was a person who was qualified to marry his daughter. And the person who is qualified to marry his daughter now says, I will not marry till my father permits. Now, the interesting thing is that the bow is already broken. Now, he cannot conduct the Swayamvar again because there is no bow now. And the one qualified person, he is saying, I won't marry. The Janak Maharaj was completely confused. He was totally bewildered. At that time, everyone turned their attention to Mother Sita. Imagine Sita's situation. If any other girl was in Sita's place, what would she think? How would she react to this? Naturally, Sita should have been devastated. The one person who was qualified to marry her, the one person who actually qualified himself, saying no. Thousands of people have tried. Wars have been fought over Sita's beauty. And here, the one person that is qualified to marry Sita, he says no. Sita, instead of being devastated, she was actually very happy. And that shows us the mindset of Mother Sita. It said that Sita, she realized by the fact that Ram is denying to marry her, she realized that this person is the most qualified person for me. And she made her conclusion based on three observations. Sita felt a man, for a girl to submit herself to a man, for a girl to offer her life to a man, the man has to have three special qualities. And unless and until the man has these three qualities, the woman would never want to give her life to him. The first quality that a man should have from a woman's perspective is he should have the ability to protect her. So here was Ram, who has already shown his ability by lifting the bow. He had already killed Tataka. He had already killed Marit, Subahu, and so many demons. He had already delivered Ahilya. So Ram has already proven his strength. The very fact that he lifted the bow, which 5,000 men couldn't lift, showed that he has the ability to protect her. But that's not enough for a woman. In fact, that's not even the most important criteria for a woman to offer her life to a man. The second criteria is that a man should have the ability to speak the right things at the right time in the right way. There is a big difference in a woman's psychology and a man's psychology. There's a big difference in which a man behaves and a woman behaves. There's a big difference in which a man thinks and a woman thinks. The difference is very obvious, but the difference can be overcome if both think a little differently. Usually, for a man, when a man goes through a problem or any difficulty in life, the man tends to think a lot. And usually, a man becomes quiet. He doesn't speak up. So typically, when a husband comes back home with a lot of problems from his office and he is in great anxiety, so he comes home and he's sitting in one corner and he's thinking. The moment he is sitting in a corner and he's thinking, the wife immediately understands that he is in some problem. So she goes and asks him, "What happened? Can I help you? Are you in some problem? Are you in some difficulty? Can I help you somewhere?" The moment the wife says, "Can I help you?" the man's ego gets hurt. And the man begins to think, she feels, "I can't solve my own problems." So, thinking like that, he goes into a deeper quietude. He goes into a deeper contemplation and stops speaking completely. For a woman, when she experiences problems, when she comes across problems in life, there is a different way in which women handle problems. The way in which women handle problems is by speaking. They prefer to go and speak about their problems with their friends, with their family, with their husband, with people whom they connect with. When a man comes across problems in life, the man prefers to keep quiet. So one of the greatest problems that every woman faces is that my husband, my man, doesn't open his mouth, doesn't share his problems, doesn't speak up what he is thinking, doesn't express himself sufficiently. So Sita, when she heard Ram speak that day, very clearly, very articulately, very eloquently, Sita realized this person can express what is in his heart clearly. So she feels this is the second qualification of Ram, why he deserves to be her husband. He is prudent and has the ability and the wisdom to say the right things at the right time in the right way. And the third thing that every woman looks in a man is self control or the ability to resist temptations and control emotions. As I said, wars have been fought over Mother Sita's beauty. People from all over the world have come and tried to marry Mother Sita. Thousands and thousands of people are dying to marry her. And the one person who is actually qualified to marry her, which is Lord Ram, he says, "I don't want to marry unless Dasharath Maharaj permits." Imagine what kind of self control he has, what kind of ability he has to resist temptations. And therefore, Mother Sita feels this is the right person for me to offer my life. And this is the mood and the thought process of Mother Sita. So Sita, when Janak Maharaj was obviously, the story continues where Dasharath Maharaj comes and agrees and the marriages are announced. And for the marriage ceremony of Sita and Ram, people from all over the world are coming to attend, especially from the land of Ayodhya. Dasharath Maharaj comes with the citizens of Ayodhya to attend the marriage of Sita and Ram. And the citizens of Ayodhya are coming in thousands. Dasharath Maharaj welcomes everyone in Ayodhya to come and attend. And Dasharath Maharaj leaves in the beginning to Mithila from Ayodhya. Now, Mithila and Ayodhya are a long distance away. Mithila is somewhere in Nepal, and Ayodhya is in Uttar Pradesh in India. And Dasharath Maharaj leaves from Ayodhya and goes all the way to Mithila. Kamba Muni in his Kamba Ramayana, he explains a very beautiful way how many people came from Ayodhya to Mithila to attend the marriage. He says The Dasharatha Maharaj was the first person most excited to attend the marriage, most excited, right in the front of the procession. And it is explained that when the first person reached Mithila from Ayodhya, the first person reached Mithila, the procession was so long that the last person was still in Ayodhya. That many people went from Ayodhya to Mithila to attend the marriage of Sita and Ram. And when all these personalities of the Mithila Vasis and the Ayodhya Vasis, they were attending the marriage of Sita and Ram, all of them were immersed in looking at the beauty of Sita and Ram. They were looking so perfect, an ideal couple. So some of the citizens of Ayodhya, they felt actually Sita has only two eyes, and that's a problem. Sita should have at least 1,000 eyes to appreciate the beauty of Lord Ram. The citizens of Mithila said, no, no, it's not Sita who needs 1,000 eyes. It's actually Ram who needs 1,000 eyes. Because the beauty of Sita is so mesmerizing. Some of the citizens of Ayodhya, they said, of Mithila, they said, the earth has never experienced the touch of Sita's lotus feet because she has never ventured out of her palace without wearing the golden sandals. And somebody else said, the sun and the moon have never cast a glance on her face because she never left a palace without a palanquin. And Sita's gait was so graceful that even the swans tried to imitate her and they would get frustrated that they failed. The golden complexion of Sita was so amazingly radiant and fragrant with exotic flowers. The skin of Mother Sita was so soft that even if a leaf of a newly grown mango tree, a newly grown mango leaf falls on the face of Mother Sita or anywhere on her body, that part of the body of Sita would turn reddish because it was so delicate. Imagine how beautiful Sita was. So the citizens of Mithila said, actually, Sita doesn't need 1,000 eyes, but Ram needs 1,000 eyes to appreciate Sita better. In fact, they said Ram needs 1,000 eyes added every minute because her beauty keeps increasing. So, like that, all the citizens of Ayodhya and Mithila, they were talking about the greatness of the beauty of Sita and Ram, and they were drinking the nectar of the beauty of Sita and Ram with their eyes. The acharyas explained that their eyes were like cups, and the beauty of Sita and Ram were like elixir that was filling to these cups. And these people of Ayodhya and Mithila, they were drinking the beauty of Sita and Ram with great joy in their hearts. So while the marriage of Sita and Ram was taking place, Janak Maharaj comes and offers an advice to Lord Ram. This is amazing. Here is a father-in-law giving advice to his son-in-law about how to handle his daughter. So Janak Maharaj, what he does is, as a part of the marriage ritual, the father-in-law, is supposed to take the hand of his daughter and take the hand of the husband and place the hand of the husband over the hand of his daughter, indicating that I'm handing over her responsibility to you. But in Sita Ram's marriage, this doesn't happen. Something exactly opposite happens. So Janak Maharaj takes the hand of Sita and places Sita's hand over Ram's hand, indicating that now you're under her care. Now it's very interesting why Janak Maharaj does that. Because Janak Maharaj is trying to tell Lord Ram that she will always be by your side and protect you from succumbing to weaknesses. Janak Maharaj offers a couple of advices to Lord Ram about his daughter. He uses specific words, which are very interesting. The first word Janak Maharaj uses, he calls Sita as Ayonija. Ayonija means somebody who is not born in an ordinary way. So he's telling Sita, he's telling Lord Ram, you think that you're born in an extraordinary way, but Sita also is born in an extraordinary way. You think you're special because you're born from the nectar that comes out from the yajna. But Sita is also special because she was born from the earth. You think you are unique. Janak Maharaj says Sita is also unique. Therefore, because Sita is Ayonija, that means she is not born from a human womb. Therefore, she is your best match. You will not find anybody who is as qualified as Sita to marry you. And then Janak Maharaj says, he is pointing out to Sita and is telling Ram, this is your Sita. Now the Acharyas are very, very perplexed. Why would Janak do that? Why is Janak, Sita is standing next to Ram, why is he pointing out to Sita and telling Ram, this is your Sita? The reason is because Janak knows the power of Sita's beauty. Till now, till this point in time, Ram had never looked at anybody because his beauty was unmatched. There was nobody who was as beautiful as him. And therefore, by pointing out to Sita and saying, this is your Sita, Janak is telling Lord Ram, she is your match. She is as beautiful as you. In fact, she is exceptionally beautiful. And then, so essentially what Janak Maharaj is saying is, stop looking anywhere else. You don't have to look anywhere else. This is your Sita. And the second reason, which is more important than why Janak says that, is because Janak was aware that Sita's beauty has enamored Ram to such an extent that he is seeing Sita everywhere. So Ram is seeing Sita practically everywhere. So Janak Maharaj is saying, don't put your garland somewhere else, thinking that to be Sita. This is your Sita, he is pointing out. The third thing that Janak Maharaj tells Lord Ram is, Sita is Dharmacharini Tava. Dharmacharini Tava means, she will follow you when you're right, but correct you when you're wrong. We're going to see two episodes in the life of Mother Sita where Sita actually corrects Ram. The fourth thing Janak Maharaj tells about Sita, he tells Ram that Sita is like your shadow. Now, why does Janak compare Sita to a shadow? Two reasons. A shadow is always connected to the feet of a person. So Janak Maharaj is saying, Sita is like a shadow, she will always be connected with you. She will always be worshipping your lotus feet. And then Janak Maharaj also says, in the morning, when you face the sun is in front of you, the shadow falls behind you. And in the end of the day, when the sun is behind you, the shadow falls ahead of you. So see, Janak Maharaj is telling Ram, in all situations, the sun and the shadow are never separated from each other. So Janak Maharaj is telling, when you are in good times, that means when the sun is in front of you, that means when there is prosperity, Sita will be behind you. And when you are going through bad times, when there is a calamity, Sita will be in front of you. Which actually indicates how a husband and wife should help one another and assist one another during their tough times and during their prosperous times. When there is prosperity, one should not barge and force oneself on the other person, but allow that person to grow and silently inspire from behind. And when there is calamity, when there is trouble, when there is difficulties, the spouse should stand right in front, besides the partner, and assist and help in that way. So when Janak Maharaj says all these beautiful things about Mother Sita and the relationship between Ram and Sita, Ram gets so inspired. He immediately takes a vow at that point. He takes a vow of Ekapatni Vrata. All the women of Ayodhya become extremely happy. The reason is especially the unmarried women, because the previous king, Dasharath Maharaj, and many wives. And therefore, the men of Ayodhya would marry multiple times. And now that the new king, the would-be king of Ayodhya, has taken a vow of Ekapatni Vrata that he will never ever marry again, the citizens of Ayodhya have to follow, and naturally in the trend of the king, in the footsteps of the king. So then finally the marriage ceremony was about to take place. The garland exchange was taking place. Ram put the garland around Mother Sita, and Sita, she is trying to put her garland around Lord Ram. And Ram doesn't bend. Ram is tall, much taller than Sita, and he's not bending. So Sita doesn't understand how to garland him if he doesn't bend. Somehow Ram is not used to bending. So Lakshman, he comes to the rescue. He realizes that his brother is not on a bend. So he has to do something to trick him to bend. So Lakshman runs and touches the feet of Lord Ram. As soon as Lakshman touches the feet of Lord Ram, Ram bends down to pick up Lakshman. As soon as Ram bends down to pick up Lakshman, Sita puts a garland around Lord Ram. And that is how Sita and Ram's marriage takes place. So Ram obviously was making a little fun of Mother Sita. He was not doing it in a serious way. But at the same time, Lakshman came in the right picture, and he helped Sita and Ram unite with one another. Lakshman represents the spiritual master, the Guru. Vishwamitra Muni also represents the spiritual master. The role of the spiritual master is to unite Sita and Ram. The role of the Guru is to unite the Supreme Lord with the living entity. Sita, on one level, is the energy of the Lord, but on another level, she also represents a living entity who is trying to connect with the Lord and serve the Lord. On another level, Sita also is a guru or a spiritual master because she gives us instructions of what to do and what not to do. So far, we have seen Sita's role as the eternal consort of Lord Ram. We also have seen a little bit of Sita's role as a living entity. But going forward, we're going to see Sita's role as a guru to Lord Ram. The interesting thing is, every role that Sita does, it's done in a very sensitive way. It is not done in a way that hurts, but it's done in a way that is very sensitive. I'm going to tell you all a story which is amazing, one of the most beautiful stories of the Ramayana. But it's a very deep story, and it's a story about love and connections. So, fast forwarding the story to much later, on to the day of the coronation of Sita and Ram as the king and queen of Ayodhya. So Sita and Ram were preparing to to become the king and queen of Ayodhya the next day morning. And in between, Sumantra comes and asks Ram to accompany him to the palace of Dasharath Maharaj, who was a king, and Queen Kaikeyi want to see him. So Ram immediately gets up and he starts following Sumantra. Suddenly he stops, turns and talks to Sita. He makes a statement. He tells her, surely father and mother Kaikeyi have decided something wonderful for our well-being and prosperity. Sita smiles, looking at Ram, and acknowledges his sentiments and understands his mind. Now, what is Ram trying to tell her? Ram is trying to tell her that what his father and mother says, we should accept it as good for us. Ram is a supreme personality of Godhead, obviously. He knows what is going to come. He's preparing Sita's mind to accept what is going to come as good for them. Sita immediately smiled at Lord Ram and gave him confidence. Don't worry. I totally understand. So Ram follows Mantra and he reaches the door of the bedroom, of the inner chamber. Just before leaving, Ram he takes out a garland that was on his neck. There was a beautiful flower garland on his neck. He takes out the garland and places the garland on Sita's neck. He puts the garland around Sita. He looks at Sita and is waiting for a response. So Sita looks at him and smiles. And she weaves a imaginary garland around Ram's neck by moving her eyes in a circle and again smiles. Sumantra is standing over there and he's not able to understand what's going on between the two. He is completely confused. But here, Sita is actually communicating. Sita and Rama are communicating each other some deep things. Let me explain what they were trying to do, what they were trying to communicate. First, when Ram told Sita that father and mother have some are deciding whatever they decide is good for us. He's telling her whatever they tell us to do, going out for 14 years in exile or whatever, it's good for us. We should accept it as good for us. Sita smiles, understanding that. As Ram is leaving the room, he takes out his garland and puts the garland around her. He's trying to tell her that now that I'm going from here, I'm going as the king of Ayodhya. But when I come back from the palace of Dasharath and Kaikeyi, I will come back as a beggar. As a king of Ayodhya, I have a lot of gifts to offer you. I had a lot of things to offer you. But as a beggar, when I return back, the only thing that I can offer you is garlands, flowers, leaves in the forest. I will have nothing to offer you. Will you still accept me? Sita weaves a garland around Lord Ram, imaginary garland, and she smiles, telling Lord Ram that, my dear Lord, for me, there is nothing more important than being with you. For me, being with you is the greatest joy in life. And she smiles, indicating that she is completely ready. Imagine Sita and Ram are having a conversation only through smiles. No words exchanged literally. Today, husband and wives, people in all relationships, there is so many words of communication, so many mediums of communication. But unfortunately, communication never happens because people don't know what is in each other's hearts. And here, Sita and Ram, just by smiling at one another, they're able to convey such deep sentiments. And that is the meaning of love. And that is the love between Sita and Ram. So Sita, so Ram comes back after a certain point, the discussion, and then he comes back and tells Mother Sita that please take care of mother and father, and please take care of Bharat, please take care of Shatrughna like your own children, please take care of the citizens of Ayodhya. So he's giving us her parting instructions. Now Sita, she doesn't understand what Ram is trying to do. Just now, before he left, he was talking to her and telling her about forest life and about how he will only have flowers and leaves to give her. And now suddenly he's telling her that he's going to go for 14 years and she has to stay back in Ayodhya. So Sita gets upset. And Sita starts giving many arguments why she should be allowed to accompany Lord Ram to exile. So she says that as a wife, that I have every right to be with my husband during thick and thin, during joys and sorrows. She said, for me, being with my husband is heaven, and being without him is hell. So she tells him that animals don't scare me. I don't get scared of the forest. I want to go with you. So Ram tells her that you don't know what forest life is. She says, you think forest life is a joke? So Ram starts scaring her by telling her all descriptions, scary descriptions of forest life. He tells her that in a forest, there are all kinds of wild animals. And when you sleep, when there is absolute pin drop silence, the roar of a tiger will scare you like anything. In the night, during the daytime, the waterfall may sound so pleasant, but in the dead of the night, the sound of the waterfall will be deafening that you won't get sleep. So he says, you're thinking of a forest being like a picnic spot. You think that in forest there will be rivers and ponds where the lotus is growing. Just enter into those ponds. There are man-eating crocodiles living over there. So like that, Ram tells her so many things, negative things about the forest, and tries to dissuade her from coming with him. Sita, she looks at Ram and she tells him, let me tell you something about forest life. She tells him, when I was a small girl, my father called a lady astrologer. And this lady astrologer told my parents that this girl will have to experience forest life. And the lady astrologer told her parents that in fact this girl has to go to the forest 2 times. So Sita is telling Ram, I don't know about you, whether you are going to go to the forest or no. But I know about myself for sure. From the day I heard that from this lady astrologer that I have to go to the forest, I have to experience forest life, I have packed my bags and kept. And I'm always ready to go to the forest. So then Ram, he's trying to tell her so many things about the dangers of forest, how she should not come, she should take care of parents, and eventually Sita gets really upset. Sita is not able to understand why is he not taking her along. And then Sita, she says something that really hurts Ram. She speaks a statement that is very hurting. It's almost insensitive. She tells Ram, I know why you're not taking me to the forest. You're not taking me to the forest because you don't want to take the responsibility of taking care of me, of protecting me. So he says, I never knew that you were so unsure. He says, if my father Janak Maharaj was here, if my father Janak Maharaj was here and he had seen you in this situation, not wanting to take me along because you're not sure about being able to protect me. So she says, Janak Maharaj would have thought, I have married my daughter to a girl who is disguised as a boy. Imagine Sita saying such a thing to Lord Ram. Lord Ram gets bewildered. Nobody has ever told him anything like that. And Ram, he just keeps quiet and tells her, you come along. Now Sita, she knows that she has hurt him. She knows that there has been a crack in the relationship. She knows that she has spoken something that Ram is going to remember for years to come. She knows that she has been insensitive. But Sita realizes that sometimes one has to be insensitive for a greater good, for a greater cause. So Sita thinks, if I was not insensitive at this point, then for 14 long years, I would not be able to be with him. But if I acted insensitive at this point, I will have 14 long years to undo this wrong that I spoke to him, to undo the hurt that I've caused him. So Sita prefers to do that than to stay back and constantly repent within her heart, not being the situation of Lord Ram. Imagine what a situation it is for Sita. So Sita, she leaves along with Lord Ram to the forest. So Ram, Lakshman, and Sita, they are walking into the forest. Now Sita is such a delicate person. She doesn't understand what it means to go to the forest. In fact, Mother Sita, she doesn't even know what a forest is. So innocent. As I said, she has never stepped out of her house, of her palace in Mithila, nor in Ayodhya. She was pampered and taken care of so delicately, so beautifully. So when they are leaving Ayodhya, at some point after a walking, reaching the outskirts of Ayodhya, Sita asks Ram, have you reached the forest? Ram tells her, no, we are still in the outskirts of Ayodhya. After going a little distance, Sita asks Ram again, have you reached the forest? Sita is so innocent that she didn't even know what it means to reach the forest. And therefore, Sita and Ram, so for the first time in her life, Sita was walking in a forest path with thorns pricking her feet, with all kinds of fierce elements around her. But she wanted to be with Lord Ram. When the great sages look at Lord Ram, Sita, and Lakshman walking, they feel that Om personified is walking. Ram, so in their walks, usually Ram would be in the front, Sita would be in between, and Lakshman would be behind. So when Ram would walk, Sita would be looking at the back of Lord Ram, the erect back of Lord Ram, and meditating on the back of Lord Ram as she is walking. And Lakshman would be walking behind Mother Sita and he would be looking at the feet of Sita and Ram while he's walking. And the interesting thing is that when they would be walking, Ram would walk in the front. Usually, the person who walks second, if he walks on the footprints of the first person, that there will be less thorns, less pricks, because the first person has already put his feet there, and whatever thorns were there would have poked him. But Sita, when she walks behind Lord Ram, she doesn't step on the footprints of Lord Ram because she is sensitive not to step on the footprints of Lord Ram, which is worshipable for her. So she walks towards the left, keeping the footprints on her left, which is closer to the heart. And when Lakshman walks behind Sita, he avoids stamping on the footprint of Sita and Ram, and he keeps both their footprints towards his left. Imagine, for a material, mundane person, this is illogical. Why would anybody do that? But here, in the land of devotion, there is sensitivity. And sensitivity is not just about being sensitive towards a person's feelings, but being sensitive towards even footprints of the person you love. And that's what the relationship between Sita, Ram, and Lakshman was. So Sita, at, at, at some point, so there are so many episodes that happen between Sita, Ram, and Lakshman. So many beautiful things. I will not get into all those details. But I will fast forward to one particular episode that happens when they are in the forest almost 13 years later. So for 13 long years, they have been living in the forest together. They've had the most beautiful of times together. And after 13 long years, one incident happens. This is the turning point in the relationship between Sita and Ram. Now, for 13 long years, there has been a small gap in the relationship. The gap in the relationship has been because of the hurt that Sita has caused Ram by speaking those words that hurt him. Sita is aware of that, she is conscious of that. Even Ram is conscious of that. Somewhere, when somebody hurts you, speaking insensitive words, it remains in the corner of your heart. That small gap remains. So Sita has always been waiting for an opportunity to fill that gap with her love. The opportunity comes 13 years later in the form of Shurpanaka. So when Shurpanaka comes and disturbs Sita and Ram and Lakshman chops off the nose and ears of Shurpanaka, she runs away and calls the Khardushan and the 14,000 soldiers. So Khardushan and 14,000 soldiers are attacking Sita, Ram, and Lakshman. So Ram tells Lakshman, take Sita into a cave and don't come out till I call you. Lakshman is wondering, why is Ram saying that? Because in these 13 years that they have been in the forest, they have hardly used their bow and arrow. Because they have not fought any wars. They have been living very peacefully with the sages. They have been living very peacefully amongst the forest animals. And here, for the first time, there is an opportunity where Lakshman is getting to use his bow and arrow, getting to use his Kshatriya Velar. And Ram is telling him, take Sita into a cave and wait there, guarding her, protecting her. So Lakshman is saying, come on, Sita can be on her own. Let me join you. There are 14,000 soldiers over here. It's a massive war. Ram is very stern at this point. And he glances at Lakshman very intensely, and Lakshman understands now there is no point in arguing. He takes Mother Sita and goes into a cave. And while Sita and Lakshman are in the cave, here Ram single-handedly fights with these 14,000 demons and destroys all the 14,000 demons in a matter of about 1 hour. The fight is so fierce and so intense. The Valmiki Ramayana explains the details of the fight, and it's a massive fight with river of blood flowing, arms and different parts of the body of these demons floating around. And Ram is shooting arrows at the speed of the mind. It is explained that Ram's bow has a small bell on it. And this bell is a very interesting bell because every time Ram kills a certain number of soldiers, the bell rings once. And this bell in this war was ringing constantly for about 1 hour. Constantly it is ringing. That means Ram was shooting and killing thousands of people at the speed of the mind. After the whole massacre is over, Sita and Lakshman come out, and Ram is standing with his bow in his hand, and the bow is on the ground, and Ram, his body is filled with blood, with wound, with cuts, bruises. The mud of the battlefield is all over his body. He's sweating, and this is the look of Lord Ram when Sita and Lakshman walk up to him. The moment Sita looks at Lord Ram, she understands what Ram is trying to tell her. Ram is not spoken one single word at this point. Ram is quiet, very stern. He has a face which is very strict and stern. There is no smile on his face. And he's standing there with the bow on the ground. He's trying to make a statement. Sita immediately understands what Ram is trying to say. And she realizes this is the opportunity that I've been looking for. This is the opportunity for me to undo that one insensitive word that I spoke to Ram many years back. She runs to Ram, embraces him, puts her arms around Lord Ram, embraces him, and then she speaks something that touches the heart of Lord Ram. Sita tells Ram, if only today my father Janak Maharaj was here, and if he had seen you so valorously defeat these 14,000 demons, if only Janak Maharaj was here, he would have married you to as many daughters as he had. Sita embraces Lord Ram, and Ram finally smiles. Imagine, Sita had spoken an insensitive word 13 years back. She remembered it, and then she decided to undo it 13 years later when she got an opportunity. And that's the beauty of Sita and Ram's relationship. There are so many beautiful stories that happened between Sita and Ram in the forest. Another very beautiful story is once Ram, Lakshman, and Sita were going towards the Godavari river to have a bath. And when they enter into the waters of the Godavari river, Ram tells Sita, let us have a competition. Let us have a swimming competition. Now Lakshman is bewildered. Lakshman has never heard the word competition from the mouth of Lord Ram. So Lakshman, he doesn't know what it means. So Ram tells Lakshman, you sit on the banks of this river and you be the judge. And me and Sita, both of us will swim across the river and we'll come back. Whoever swims across and comes back to you first is the winner. Now Sita is also bewildered because she has never ever had a competition with Ram till now. And here Ram is announcing a competition, a swimming contest. And then Sita and Ram start swimming. And Ram swims at a great pace. He is a Kshatriya, a powerful person. And Sita is struggling to swim across the river. And when Ram reaches the other side of the river and he's already coming back, Sita is not even halfway from this side. So Ram looks at Sita and he starts thinking, what will I get by winning this match? What will I get by proving that I am faster than her? And he realizes that I will not get anything. So he decides to duck into the water. So he goes into the water and he is waiting for Sita to cross and reach back. And finally Sita reaches the other side and she is reaching back. When she is reaching back, then Ram starts swimming again. And when Sita reaches the other shore and she sees that Ram is still struggling to come towards her, she starts laughing like mad. She is laughing so loudly, excited, enthusiastic, happy that she has won. When Ram looks at the face of Mother Sita laughing like that, Lord Ram realizes that this was worth losing the match for. So Ram realizes that this smile, this laughter on the face of Mother Sita, to get to experience that, he said it's worth losing many, many competitions. And that's how Sita and Ram spend their time in the forest. So many beautiful stories and so many beautiful aspects of the relationship that come out during their forest life. Obviously, Mother Sita has many roles to play. as I said, one of the roles is that she corrects Lord Ram. And there are many times in the Ramayana where Mother Sita actually corrects Lord Ram. So one of that we saw when he refused to take her to the forest. Another time, Ram takes a vow in front of all the sages of the Dandakaranya that I will protect you all from the demons. I'll wipe out the demons and protect you all. Mother Sita at that point, she doesn't like that. She in fact doesn't like Ram killing anyone. If you study the Ramayana carefully, you'll find that wherever and whenever Sita was present in front of Ram, along with Lord Ram, and a demon attacks, Ram doesn't kill that demon. At max, he will cut off one of the limbs of the demon. Like for example, Kakasur attacked when Sita was present in front of Ram. So Ram didn't kill Kakasur, he only removed one of his eyes. Shurpanaka attacked when Sita was with Ram. So therefore, Ram didn't kill Shurpanaka, he only cut off the ears and nose. So similarly, so many times in the Ramayana we find wherever Sita is present, Ram cannot do anything. He cannot kill a person because Sita is a divine mother. And in the role of a mother, she's always compassionate towards all the living entities. So one time, Ram, when he takes this vow of killing all the demons, Sita gets very upset with Lord Ram. And she tells him, we have come to the forest to live life like sages, like ascetics. But why are you roaming around with a bow and arrow in your hand? If you carry a bow and arrow with you, you will be forced to do wrong things. You will be forced to kill. So she says, just throw this bow and arrow. We don't want to fight and harm anybody. And Sita, in fact, tells Ram a story. She tells him that one time there was a sage who was very, very powerful. And Indra, he became insecure of this sage. So Indra wanted to bring this sage down. So he went to the hermitage of the sage one fine day and he told the sage that we will be I need a small help from you. Indra tells the sage. And the help that I need, Indra says, is that I need to answer nature's call. So I just quickly need to give this sword to you in your hand. Please hold it for me for a few minutes. I'll answer nature's call and come back. This is a very holy sword, so I cannot keep it on the ground. The sage agrees. He picks up the sword, holds it in his hand. Indra goes away. Now Indra has no intention of coming back. So the sage is holding the sword for quite some time, and at that point, the sage is bewildered. Why is Indra not coming? It's a long time now. The sage realizes I have a sword in my hand. Let me see how to use the sword. So he just there's a log of wood lying there. He just touches the sword on the log of wood. As if just by a mere snick, the log of wood gets cut into two. The sage now suddenly realizes he has a lot of power in his hand now. He goes out and swishes his sword, and few trees chop off. And then he cuts a few trees and here and there, and his desire for power and strength increases more and more. Then he starts killing some animals, and then over a period of time, with the kind of power that he has, he completely loses his mind and he becomes a dacoit, and he completely loses his focus on his spiritual sadhana. So Sita is telling Ram the story and telling him, throw your bow and arrow. As long as you have your bow and arrow, you will continue harming people. You will misuse that bow and arrow. Imagine Sita is telling Ram this. Ram, obviously, when he hears Sita speaking like that, he doesn't get angry on her. He doesn't get upset with her. But he explains his point of view to Sita. He tells Sita, my dear Sita, I have not taken a vow that I'll become an ascetic. I only have taken a vow to live in the forest for 14 years. I am not banished from Kshatriya Dharma. I have not taken exile from Kshatriya Dharma. I may have taken exile from wearing the dress of a Kshatriya, but I have not given up the Dharma of a Kshatriya. And what is the Dharma of the Kshatriya? The Dharma of the Kshatriya doesn't depend on position. The Dharma of a Kshatriya doesn't depend on where he is. The Dharma of a Kshatriya depends on the mood. And what is the dharma of a Kshatriya? The dharma of a Kshatriya is to protect innocent people. The sages are so innocent, and these demons are attacking them and killing them. How can I, as a Kshatriya, when I hear them speaking about their problems, when I hear them speaking about their pain, showing heaps of bones of sages who have been killed by the demons, how can I keep quiet? And Ram, he tells her, this is my dharma. And he says, I take a vow at this point. No matter what happens, I will continue to protect the sages. And he says, I will vanquish all the demons in this world to protect my devotees. And that's when Sita understands that what Ram is saying makes a lot of sense. And thus, Ram and Sita reconcile on that fact. So the point I'm trying to say is, look at the interactions between Ram and Sita. There are hundreds of these interactions, and these interactions between Ram and Sita are so beautiful, and they're so amazingly deep that each of these interactions have the power to help us understand the connection between Sita and Ram. When Sita was in Ashok Vatika, kidnapped by Ravan, and completely in a situation where she had no access to Ram and Lakshman, Sita, she plucked two flowers. And these flowers were from the Ashoka tree under which she was sitting. And the interesting thing about, sorry, not the Ashoka tree, this was Simshuka tree under which she was sitting. And the interesting thing about these flowers was that these flowers had a small whorl in the center. It's like a small stick. And the stick looked like a bow. So when Sita saw these flowers, she felt these flowers looked like Ram and Lakshman holding a bow in their hand. So Sita, when she lived in Ashok Vatika for those 10 months or so, she kept one flower on this side of her and one flower on this side of her. And in her meditation, she was feeling that Ram and Lakshman are on two sides of her, constantly protecting her. This is the mood of a great devotee. Sita represents, as I said, so many things at so many levels. On one level, she is the eternal energy, the eternal consort of the Lord. On another level, she is like a normal living entity who is teaching us how to live our lives in separation from the Lord and in association with the Lord. When she is in Lanka, captured by Ravan, and why did she got captured? She got captured because she got attracted to some temptations. The golden deer represents temptations that come in life. And because she was so attracted to the temptations of the golden deer, she was taken away and kept in Lanka, which represents the material world. All of us were like Ram, were like Sita, living along with Lord Ram in the spiritual world. But because we got attracted to a temptation, the golden deer, we got captured and dropped into Lanka. And in Lanka, Ravan keeps her surrounded by 700 demonesses who are one-eyed and one-eared monsters. And these 700 demonesses represents the false ego. People around us who keep telling us that Ram doesn't exist, only Ravan exists. Marry him. Sita, in spite of all those temptations, in spite of all the torture, she constantly chants the holy name of Lord Ram, keeping Ram and Lakshman on her sides. And as Sita is constantly chanting the holy names of Lord Ram, all of us are in a very similar situation like Mother Sita. We're all locked down in our own Lankas. And there is no hope literally for most of us. We can't go out anywhere. And practically a lot of people are saying, where is God at this point in time? When we need Him the most, He is just not there. That's the time we need to remember Mother Sita. She was intensely praying to Lord Ram, chanting the holy names of Lord Ram. And in that mood, she was waiting. Sita waited for 11 months, 10 months literally. And then after those 10 months, Hanumanji comes, the spiritual master comes. And the spiritual master gives us hope. Hanumanji comes to the ring of Lord Ram and tells Mother Sita, don't worry, Ram will come. And that's the kind of hope that all of us need in our lives at this point. We need spiritual masters. We need great devotees of the Lord, like Hanumanji, to tell us, don't worry, Ram will come. And that ring that Hanumanji gives is the holy name of the Lord. The ring that Hanumanji gives is faith in the holy name of the Lord. That is the greatest gift of the spiritual master. Let us intensely take shelter of the holy names of Lord Ram and try our best to focus on chanting the holy names of the Lord in this situation when we are locked down, and intensely focus on the mood with which Mother Sita was chanting. Hare Krishna. I'll stop here. Very, very grateful to all of you for your patient listening and for your enthusiastic participation in these sessions. I will take up one or two questions at this point. But before I take up the questions, I would just like to tell you all that we will not be having classes from tomorrow onwards. But the next class that we will be having will be on 2nd of April, which is Ram Navami Day. So I would like to invite all of you to please enthusiastically join us on Ram Navami. And I'm going to speak a very, very special and a beautiful theme on Ram Navami. I'm going to speak about the Navada Bhakti, the 9 processes of devotional service in the Ramayana. How the different devotees in the Ramayana, the different personalities in the Ramayana represent and perfect each of the 9 processes of devotional service. We may all have heard about the process of devotional service through the Bhagavatam, the 9 limbs of devotional service. But we're going to speak about the 9 limbs of devotional service through the Ramayana. So please do make time to join us between 7 to 9. We'll do a much longer session on Ram Navami Day, and hopefully that will inspire you all to remember Lord Ram on this auspicious day of Ram Navami. So I'm just going to take one or two questions at this point before we end. So one question is, devotees are leaving their bodies due to coronavirus without any devotee association, even after dedicating their entire life in glorifying Lord Krishna. Um, how to understand this? Is chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra should be... So the first question I'll answer. The understanding is, actually, let me tell you a story to help you understand this better. Ramanujacharya, who was such a great Acharya in the Sri Sampradaya, he once had a doubt, and he asked this doubt to Kanchipurna. Kanchipurna was an exalted devotee, and he had a very special benediction that Varadaraj, the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his deity form in Kanchipuram, Varadaraj would actually talk to Kanchipurna. So Ramanuja asked Kanchipurna a question. The question that Ramanujacharya asked in all his humility was, he wanted to know from the Lord what will happen to him if at the time of death he doesn't remember Krishna, he doesn't chant the names of Krishna. Somehow while he is dying, he is not in a situation that he is able to chant the names of Krishna. What will happen to him? Ramanujacharya asked this question through Kanchipurna to Varadaraj. And Varadaraj gives an amazing answer. And the answer that Varadaraj gives is the greatest hope for all of us. Obviously, this answer was meant for Ramanujacharya. But anybody who is following in the footsteps of Ramanujacharya, this answer holds equally good to. Varadaraj told Kanchipurna to tell Ramanujacharya, tell him that if my devotee does not remember me at the time of death, I will remember him. Imagine what an answer the Lord is giving. For somebody who has dedicated his life for serving the mission, for chanting the holy names of the Lord constantly, there is no question about the Lord not being able to remember him. Whether we are dying in the association of devotees or not in the association of devotees, the gratitude of the Lord always remains. For anyone who has intensely taken shelter of the Lord is eternally grateful, and He will never give up on such a devotee. There's another question that I'll take. You mentioned yesterday about pride, that we should keep Ram ahead of us. How should we practically keep Ram ahead of us rather than our darshan? So let me just paraphrase it and understand what the question is. The question essentially is, how do you how do you deal with pride by keeping God in front of us? What is the meaning of keeping God in front of us? Essentially, a proud person always feels that all my talents, abilities, skills are mine. But when we keep God in front of us, we understand that these gifts are given to us to be utilized in the service of the Lord. When we think that these gifts are given to us to get praise and appreciation, unfortunately, we have misused the gifts. Every gift is to be used for the pleasure of the giver of the gift. When we utilize our abilities, skills, and talents in the service of the Lord, and in the remembrance that that gift is given to us by the Lord, in that memory, we are actually keeping Lord in the front. In that consciousness, we're actually keeping Lord in the front. That is what it means to practically keep Ram in front of us. Finally, the last question I'm going to take is about what does Lord Ram tell about his birth as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Sita? Is it there in the Valmiki Ramayana? Obviously, it's not there in the Valmiki Ramayana because Valmiki Ramayana presents facts as they are. But there are many stories about the discussions between Sita and Ram in the forest that are not recorded in the Valmiki Ramayana. Some of them are in some Puranas, some of them are in some Sthala Purana of some temple. Like, for example, the temple of Remuna in Orissa, the Sthala Puran of that temple has a beautiful story of um, Ram and Sita's conversation in Chitrakoot. In fact, this deity of Gopinath has been personally carved by Lord Ram, and Sita would worship this deity of Gopinath in her personal memories. And when Ram left from Dandakaranya forest and traveled further, they didn't take that deity along with them. But that deity of Gopinath traveled and reached Remuna eventually. At that point, when Ram carved this beautiful deity of Gopinath with his own hands for Mother Sita, he explained about his incarnation as Krishna. And he explained about the beauty of the pastimes of Krishna. And Sita was so mesmerized by the pastimes of Krishna that she actually wanted to worship that form of the Lord. And therefore, Ram created this beautiful deity of Gopinath. So, like that, there are so many other pastimes of Ram telling her about his other incarnations, which are in other scriptures, basically. Um, there is one last question that I'll take. This is the question about Agni Pariksha and the banishment of Sita. So, I'm going to, at this point, address the Agni Pariksha and the banishment of Sita. I would recommend you all to go to a link, a video that I've already made in the past that talks about the banishment of Sita in great detail. So, as far as the Agni Pariksha is concerned, um, the story is that when Lord Ram was running behind to chase the golden deer, Marich, just before he runs towards chasing the golden deer, Ram takes Sita inside the hut, inside the hermitage. And while they are inside the hermitage, Lord Ram hands over Sita to Agni Dev, to the fire god, for protection. And Agni, he creates a Maya Sita and brings her out. And the Maya Sita is along with Lakshman, and Ram goes away. Nobody knows about this story. And the one that Ravan kidnaps is actually Maya Sita. So Maya Sita in her previous life was a girl named Vedavati who wanted to marry Lord Vishnu as her husband. But unfortunately, Ravan saw her and he was so attracted to her, he wanted to enjoy with her. Somehow she saved herself from Ravan and she self-immolated herself and took this vow that I will be responsible for the death of Ravan. And that Vedavati comes as Maya Sita and is kidnapped by Ravan. And eventually, she becomes the cause of Ravan's death. And after the whole episode gets over, Ram, he is questioning Sita about her 10 months of stay in Lanka. Sita herself chooses to do the Agni Pariksha. Ram doesn't tell her to do Agni Pariksha, but Sita is the one who tells Lakshman to get the firewood and she enters into the fire. The idea of entering into the fire is a pretext. It's Maya Sita going into back to Agni Dev and the original Sita coming back. And this section, this story, is there in the Kurma Puran, which was referred to by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he went to the Adikeshwar temple. So we'll find the details of this in Kurma Purana also. As far as the banishment of Sita is concerned, I would like all of you all to visit a particular video. You can search it on YouTube under my name. The video is named as Banishment of Sita and Other Tough Questions. I'll repeat the name, Banishment of Sita and Other Tough Questions. So please watch this video. This video has almost about 8 to 10 reasons, so 8 to 10 ways of understanding this episode of the Banishment of Sita. With this, I would like to stop our session here. I'm very, very grateful to each and every one of you for coming here and enthusiastically participating. As I said yesterday, this link is going to remain alive. For those who would like to watch this video again and hear this session again, you're most welcome to click on the same link that you got and you can hear the whole video again. And if you would like to share this link also further, you're most welcome to share this link. We are not sure whether we will be posting these videos to public view or not, but at least as long as you have these links, you can get access to all the 3 videos that we have seen so far. So again, I am very, very grateful to each and one of you all for enthusiastic participating in these sessions. I would be very, very happy to know your feedback about how you like these sessions. And also, as I said, we will be joining back again on 2nd of April on Ram Navami Day between 7 to 9 p.m. And all of you will get notified about this as long as you're on the groups. And please do share this information to everybody else that you all know of who would like to join us in celebrating Ram Navami. Thank you very much. Very grateful to all of you. Hare Krishna.